All right, we are live. What is up, YouTube boxing family? It is K right here. I am back with another good live for y'all today. Just to recap on this past weekend's fights. Um, Unfortunately, if if you guys haven't seen Let the Fights, Amanda Serrano had fought Katie Taylor, and unfortunately, she had lost in a very controversial decision.
How would you say jaw
Oh
played?
shit! I'm sorry. Yep, in a controversial decision. That was at the MSG. I was there for my birthday. Huge big shout out to Amanda Serrano. She did her thing. She was beating the brakes off of Katie, and I will give credit to Katie Taylor. She definitely did what she had to do, but it didn't really show enough
I would.
separation in the fight itself. So either way, very good fight. I mean, the decision itself obviously was bullshit at the end of the day. But before I get to that, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Rashad Mahdi. He was on the undercard, and surprisingly out of nowhere, he just actually came up to the stands where fans were sitting to watch the fight, and he just started coming through and just taking pictures with people. And I was actually happy enough to get a picture, in with him. And I have to say that that was like really good out of him, and I was happy that I definitely ran into him. For those of you that don't know who Rashad Mahdi is, he's a welterweight fighter that fights under the DAZN banner, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he had, I think he has over like 10 fights, if I'm not mistaken. But he definitely did his thing. I definitely give him a lot of credit. He's a 23-year-old fighter, 5'10", 12-0 with 7 knockouts. He's an Orthodox, and he's out of Staten Island, New York. And yeah, I mean, overall, his fighting style is very pure boxerish. He definitely has more of a inside type of fighting style, and I'll probably talk more about him because I definitely think he's definitely going to be up there. Obviously, people can say what he had, like uh, like people can say what he is now to say like, oh well, he's not that good, blah blah blah. But the competition that the zone is obviously feeding him is not the competition that we want to see now. But I think later in the future, he will start facing like guys like by the likes of I'll probably say like any welterweight that's in the top. I may like I'll probably say like the top 50 or top 75. I think he's already there, but he just needs to take it he needs to take it slow. He just needs to find those good level good high level ranking welterweight fighters, and if we could definitely see him in there with like a guy like um I'll probably say like a guy like possibly Marquise Taylor, or maybe Christian Gomez, or maybe a Raul Curiel, or maybe like a guy like Enrico Gogo Kika, in which I think Enrico Gogo Kika would give him a tough ass fight. Al Rivera, I personally would like to see that fight, and definitely Michael Fox. I think him and Michael Fox, that's gonna that's gonna be a fight down the line where that's gonna be a very interesting fight to definitely see. But either way, I definitely have to say the fights themselves were pretty decent. I had a good time going to the fight. It was definitely worth going to the fight at the Madison Square Garden to celebrate my birthday, and I had a lot of fun, just watching the fights in general. The one fight that I definitely need to criticize was the Sky Nicholson fight. I wasn't really so sold on her, just simply because yeah, she's a decent pure boxer, but she's obviously fighting ladies that she knows that she can beat. and I still haven't seen, like the pure potential out of her, because she's really like not that interesting of a fighter to like make me say, oh wow, like she's definitely the goods and blah blah blah. And I mean, this is her third fight. I believe so. Yeah, this is her third fight in the pros, and honestly, like I'm just not sold on her. Like I don't think she's that good. I mean, you came into the game very, very late, and I just don't like that out of fighters that, keep bragging like about this, amateur background, blah blah blah. Like to me, that doesn't mean anything. And number two, you have to prove to me as a consumer, why should I need to come out and see you? And I don't see her like her stock raising up any higher, because she's that type of fighter where she's fighting the level of competition that the zone and Matchroom has given to her. And I think eventually her skill set will start to be exposed a lot more at a higher level. And I think honestly, like the opponent that they threw at her was just absolutely terrible. I just don't understand why they would, give, like an opponent like a, Paisley Davis, knowing that she's actually been out of the ring for quite a while, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Shanequa Paisley Davis. Her last fight was back in October 8th, back in 2021. So you mean to tell me that she's been basically inactive for 6 months leading into, yeah, like, yeah, basically leading into the new year. That's just absolutely disrespectful, because it's like, I'm not too sure like what Paisley has been doing, because obviously certain fighters will, say what they have to say, but at the end of the day, you have to come ready, in your fights, and you have to prove yourself to be that type of fighter. But just taking a look at how she's been fighting, like, because I'm that type of guy, like, to be studying a lot of fighters. Um, that's that's where I draw the line to see if that style would ever be good against the other fighter style. And by looking at Paisley, she is a decent fighter, but it's like she's like not going to be some world beater where she's going to just be blowing through all these ladies. I personally think that she's just not really there. But I think in the end, she's probably going to start getting up there, to a certain point where she needs to start, upping upping her competition a lot higher, just to get better, and she's able to do the things that she's supposed to do. But either way, I mean, credit to Sky Nicholson. Like, I don't really think she's that good, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's just how I see her style really coming into the pros, because it's like if you just keep doing that every single fight, eventually somebody with power or somebody with good boxing ring IQ can easily just cut off your ring tactics to try to move around a lot. And then eventually, when they crack you, then that's basically where everything goes downhill, and you're not able to perform at the level that people say that you can perform at. And I don't think Sky, she's going to be good at the world title level, because one, she came in very late, and two, the opponents that she's being fed now, that's not going to prepare her later, and three, her style's not good enough to be a professional, fighting style. And I can say, like, based off of the 126-pound division, I'll say honestly, like, instead of having Paisley fighter, I really wanted to see Carmen fighter, Carmarie Matos Vargas. Yeah, that definitely would have been a good fight, because even though even though she's like 5'2", but she's a good ass fighter, man. She definitely would have been like a good opponent for her. But obviously, I think in her last fight, that was at 118. So I'm not too sure like if she's still fighting at featherweight, but theoretically, I think that would have been like a better fight to sell, like, at least have like young girls, like, fight each other, so that way that can actually weed out, all the potential good fighters. But I'm not too sure, like, honestly, like, I think what DAZN's probably going to do, they're probably going to match her up with like somebody like a Ebony Jones, and which I actually wouldn't mind that fight, because I think Ebony Jones, she'll definitely give problems to um, to Sky Nicholson, even though that I don't see her to be that big of a puncher, and she came into the pro game very late, if I'm not mistaken. But by looking at her experience level, like I don't think she's really up there to like give Sky a challenge. But like it'll be like your typical like all British showdown, in which I could definitely see that fight being made in the UK, because that's a good sell to anybody that loves female UK fighters. So I personally wouldn't mind seeing that. But on top of that, I wouldn't mind to see fight with possibly possibly one of Calvin Johnson's fighters, in which I think she could definitely fight her. But I want to see her fight this black chick. Her name's Mia Ellis. She's very very good, even though that she fights at 130. I think Mia Ellis would be a very tough task for Miss Nicholson. And even though that she hasn't been in the ring since February, that was her recent fight where she knocked out Tia Sutton in the first round. That was at I think like what, like 134. So I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like I think Sky Nicholson, she's definitely vulnerable to to be challenged by somebody good. I also wouldn't mind to see a fight with Sophie Alish. I think Sophie Alish would definitely beat her. She would she wouldn't be able to stop her, but I think Sophie, based off of how she fights so like productive with her boxing IQ, and she has she has such a good jab with it too, and she's really athletic, and she's very how should I say, defensively responsible to really make it a tough fight for Sky Nicholson. So I think Sophie Alish, like when she starts getting her name a lot bigger, and where she hasn't been in the ring for a long time, but that was mainly due to, I want to say, COVID and probably some managerial or matchmaking issues. So I'm not too sure like what she's going to be doing in the near future, but I think she could definitely give Miss Sky Nicholson a very tough challenge and potentially beat her. Um, Another fight that I actually want to see is Diana Vargas. Even though that she's at 13 fights, and she's obviously been fighting most of her opponents in the Dominican Republic, if not all of them. So I think that will be a good fight down the line, because even though DAZN's going to be pushing her to be like this next big thing, blah blah blah, they will very well probably run into a fighter like Diana Vargas. And if Diana Vargas, from what I hear, she is a good heavy-handed puncher and she knows how to box herself too. I think she will give Sky a very, yeah, like I think honestly she'll give Sky Nicholson a lot of problems, and probably some other girls a lot of problems in the division too. But either way, I think Sky Nicholson's ceiling, she's gonna she's gonna be up there to to have her ups and downs, but I think she's gonna start ceiling down rather than ceiling upwards. But anyways, that's pretty much it with Sky Nicholson. Credit to her, honestly, like I wasn't able to see her at the fight, and I actually would have liked to have taken a photo with her at the fight, but I think she was chilling with her family at the time. But either way, the other fights that were on the card, I'm just obviously gonna skim right through it. But Khalil Cole, he did a good job against William Langston. That was a good, difficult, decent matchup for him. I wasn't really too sold on William Langston. I actually kind of thought he was like not that good of a fighter to begin with, and he was just that type of dude where DAZN just kind of picked him up off the street, and I just felt like that was just like a waste of time. He came all the way from like what, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and he's a big brolic dude. He's 6'2", and I'm not too sure about the arm reach, but he definitely has some decent, decent level fighting style. His best win was obviously, well, I wouldn't say any of these guys, but some common opponents, if you guys want to talk about it, would be like Eric Moon, the same guy that got knocked out by Edgar Berlanga. But on top of that, he almost won against Mr. Money Powell. That that was down in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. That was the Bariqua invasion. That was down in Atlanta, and that wasn't a bad card. That was a very very good card, uh, and honestly, like I actually thought that that card was pretty decent. But yeah, Money Pal fought him that day, and he surprisingly had a split decision win over him. So yeah, I mean honestly, at the end of the day, like I mean the DAZN card was good, and I mean I definitely would have to say like out of the whole fights, out of all the fights, I say Austin Williams and Cordell Booker. That was the best fight, and obviously like Franchon Cruz, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, and definitely Liam Smith. Liam Smith looked absolutely amazing, and then definitely Rashad Mahdi. He definitely did his thing. I definitely give him a lot of credit for what he did, but definitely that Mexican dude that he fought, he was fighting like a bit dirty in that fight um, alone. But either way, let's talk about the Austin Williams and the Cordell Booker, and then we'll finish it up with Franchon, Liam, and then obviously the robbery with Amanda and Katie. Austin, he did his thing. He knocked out Cordell in one round, and he was actually the very first man to knock him out. So that's very interesting. I just find that really weird of how Cordell just took all those blows, and he wasn't expecting himself to be to be taking those shots. And yeah, man, honestly, he just got whipped. I don't know what made Cordell come to that mindset, but honestly, I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he comes back because I know he's a better fighter than that. But Austin Williams, he is definitely another Errol Spence. I probably say honestly, he's like Errol Spence at middleweight. He's definitely EJ. He's built like him. He fights very similar to his fighting style. Very very defensively responsible at times. I will say he tries to smother too much. He tries to rush for a knockout, but I think when he starts boxing more and has such a good deadly jab, I think that's going to be very difficult to beat him. And I think the toughest challenge out of his division would probably be a Jermell Charlo matchup, because I think Jermell Charlo, he's going to end up seeing him one day, and I think him and Charlo, that's going to be the biggest fight in the division. Hey, how's it going, Ghost? Salute to you. Thank you for coming by, but yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I felt bad for Cordell because I really thought Cordell was going to become a bad style matchup for Austin, but little did I know, Austin Ammo Williams just came out of nowhere, and he just basically Tommy Hearns the shit out of Cordell Booker, and I was just very shocked. And then obviously we have Galal Yafai. He KO'd or TKO'd retired Miguel Cartagena. Um, I wasn't really too sold on Miguel. I thought Miguel just came in to lose, and that was just really terrible. Very horrible matchmaking, and I thought that was just absolutely dog water of whoever decided to have a guy like him fight him. That was just terrible. Obviously, this is in the flyweight division, so these are all the weird ass little guys that are just going around and throwing punches and bunches when their asses should be moving up. But nah, man, I just didn't really appreciate the whatchamacallit, the I don't know, I didn't really appreciate the fighter for being beat up like that, because you obviously got the opportunity to fight at the Madison Square Garden, and you kind of let a lot of people down that actually probably was very excited to see you fight. And Galal Yafai, I'm not really too sold on him. I don't think he's that good. I think honestly he's going to be built up as another Amir Khan failure, because one, he's 29 years old, and two, he hasn't been tested with somebody with a heavy chin and a heavy punch. And I think maybe a guy like Junto Nakatani, I think Nakatani could very well stop him. I think Junto, He's a very, very deadly southpaw. Honestly, he needs to get his boxing IQ down to actually know when to go in. But I think, eventually Junto will be that type of like Naoya Inoue type fighter where he could start going in and actually doing some damage. But that will be a very, very good fight between him and Galal Yafai. I think Galal's gonna give him some trouble, but I think Junto he could very well end up stopping him. And definitely Angel Acosta. I think Angel Acosta would give him some issues, and maybe McWilliams Awario. And about Sonny Edwards, I don't really care so much about him, and I think he's just like an absolute pussy because he needs to move up. But nah, man, I think honestly, Galal ceiling will be good. He just needs to keep building himself and just cradling his skills more. So credit to him. Ghost said I think Charlo is gonna move up to 68 by that time. Yeah, I mean, honestly, knowing that Ammo got this belt, from what I hear is like when you get those type of belts, you usually end up getting ranked, and then like within like a fight or two, you start getting closer to like a world title. So I don't know, but the reason why that I actually think that fight's probably gonna happen is because Charlo, if he becomes undisputed, and let's just say he wants to become undisputed at 160, and let's just say like if nobody doesn't care about Jaime Munguia versus Charlo or Charlo versus like who else? Like I'll use Janabek, right? Then most likely everyone's probably gonna just take a look at him and Austin Williams, because like if you really think about it, I think Ammo he's just gonna have that mentality to say, "Yo, give me Charlo, have that shit down in Dallas, Texas." Obviously, Charlo will be the A side, but that's gonna be such a that's gonna be such a big ass fight for Austin Williams that if he goes to Dallas or he fights in Dallas against Jermel Charlo, and let's just say if Austin wins and he wins by like a very thin margin, that that will make Austin Williams like another Errol Spence at 160. But even better. But Go said Go, to be honest, after he sees Morrell on the Fulton card, he will diet harder to stay at 160. Oh yeah. To be honest, yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I think Jermel Charlo could he could very well fight David Morrell, and I don't think Charlo is going to be like afraid of fighting him. But I mean, if David Morrell is just as vicious as David Benavidez, and he starts doing some crazy wild shit where he wants to fight this guy. Oh, really? They sparred? Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh wait, actually, I actually do. Yeah, I actually do. Remember that because David Morrell, if I'm not mistaken, um, he trains with Ronnie Shields, yes, but he also said on Aki TV back in the past that he actually trained with the Charlo brothers. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, like Jermel Charlo, he could very well end up losing that fight if David Morrell already knows who he is and he already knows how, how he's gonna fight David and Really, really, he sparred David Benavidez. Yo, that is insane, man. Holy shit. Wow, David Morrell, he's gonna be a problem for anybody. Yeah, like when they fight, he's gonna. I don't know. Like honestly, like I would very well agree with you, but it's like this is like a 23 heading into a 24-year-old David Morrell. And like we don't know like how well his chin's gonna hold up and like how well he's gonna, be in like those deep water rounds in which like I think he's already made for made for the high level. And I think he could very well knock out a lot of people's favorite fighters. But I just want to see the fight right now because like everyone tries to say like David Morrell, he's this prospect bullshit, and I'm like honestly, like I don't give a fuck about prospects because prospects really don't prospects don't exist in boxing. But it's like that's just my core belief. But at the end of the day, David Morrell has proven himself to be that fighter where he wants all the smoke and he's moving fast. Like he's moving super duper fast. Like nobody can't stop him unless somebody comes up to the plate and says, "Hey, let me fight him." And then if they beat him, they beat him. But guess what? He's gonna gain so much experience from losing to the point where his ceiling is his ceiling only gets better from there. So I mean, he's gonna be scaling from 175, well, from at least from at least 168, and then I'll probably say maybe up to cruiserweight if he wants to go that far. But his career is definitely going to skyrocket at 168 and 175. Um, Andrade sparred David Benavides too, but he got dropped multiple times. Oh my god! Oh my god! Damn! Andre sparred David Benavides, and he got dropped. Wow. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sparring. But then again, when David got dropped by Andrade, like little Andrade or big Andrade, like because if Andrade's like cutting weight to get ready for a fight, then I can understand. Oh, it was body shots. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I definitely, can agree that like if like a fighter just stops somebody, knowing that he's only like one weight class, like under David Benavides, it's just like that's just sad because just like Andrade, he's a smaller guy beating up on David Benavides. So now it makes me wonder, why did David Benavides and his team try to act so weird trying to make this fight, and David wants like $7 million to fight Andrade. Yeah, so okay. You said this is like when he just moved up to 160. Yeah, after Andre couldn't get the fight with Canelo at 154, and then he decided to bring his talents up to 160. Eftopi, the 200 top 5 pound dude, Asvari dropped him with a jab. It's a little different. Oh, dude, that's insane. Yeah, Apochi, right? Yeah, Apochi. Yeah. That guy. He's a problem, bro. He is a fucking problem. But I never was so high on Apochi. Like I've always thought of him to be like that good, like up and coming rookie that came in super late in the game. But I wasn't thinking he was gonna he was gonna do anything special. But I mean, ever since his like ring return against Adrian Taylor, I was like, nah, dude. Honestly, like um, I'm just not sold on him anymore. But that's pretty much the same thing with Sky Nicholson. Like I'm just not sold on fighters that are foreign until you show something to me, and then I'm like, okay, then like you're actually showing something to me. Like you're actually making me believe in you and making me think that you're a damn good ass fighter. But I was gonna say back to the main topic. I was gonna skim right through about Franchon Cruz and Liam Smith, and then I'll get to the main event, and then I'll switch over to Shakur. But Franchon Cruz, she did amazing. She did her thing. She absolutely dominated Aline. I wasn't really thinking that Aline Cedarus really had anything in the tank to deal with Franchon. Franchon, she was getting hit a lot. She should have been a bit more defensively responsible. And I think that was only due to the fact that she thought that, Aline's punches weren't really hurting her. But on top of that, when you have poor footwork and poor foot placement, right? That's what made Franchon get a little bit like wobbly. But I wasn't really thinking that she was really going to like actually lose that fight and then potentially get knocked out. To which to basically each his own. Both ladies can definitely hit, but the problem was is that Aline, she has like the longer arms and she wasn't using her advantages, and she was trying to trade with Franchon to a certain degree where Franchon was just getting the better, getting the betterment of the exchanges, and Aline Cedarus, she was just getting beat up. But I think honestly, Aline, she's a good ass fighter, but I never really thought of her to be like the super ultimate badass. I definitely credit her for beating up Alicia Napoleon, because I never thought of Alicia Napoleon to be that good anyway. I actually kind of thought like she was really that bad, and I don't really think that the female like super middleweight division was ever that good to begin with. And I mean, I definitely credit Franchon Cruz for making the division great again, because now I'm actually hearing that there's talks that her and Clarissa could very well fight each other. Because remember, Savannah Marshall was not coming to the press conference to see Clarissa. So now Clarissa, from what I'm hearing, is that if Savannah Marshall's not going to get this fight made with her, she could very well just say, "All right, well, screw you, bitch," and I could easily make the fight with Franchon Cruz. So I think honestly, Franchon Cruz and Clarissa Shields too. That's a good ass fight. That's a very good marketable fight to the Black American public, and I think that's a really really good fight to a global stage. And I mean, this is undisputed versus undisputed or former undisputed. Well, actually, no. If Clarissa beats Franchon Cruz again, Clarissa will be a three division undisputed world champion. Like legit. I am not kidding. Clarissa will be a three division undisputed world champion. She got her first undisputed at 154 or at 160, and then she got the second one against uh Mary shit, like I forgot that Canadian lady's name, but basically y'all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, like I'll definitely give both of those ladies their roses, for definitely fighting each other for a second time, because if they could have that shit stage at, like, let's just say the Madison Square Garden or the Barclays or anywhere like Vegas, Clarissa and Franchon, they are going to be bringing female boxing to an all-time high, and that's going to increase the marketability for the fight or for the sport itself. So definitely like to see that fight be made in the future. Let's talk about Liam Smith, the beefy Liam Smith. He did a decent job against Jesse. Jesse was definitely not ready for Liam Smith. I mean, he had good success fighting him, but at the end of the day, like Jesse, he should have never made the move to go up to 54. And I mean, I don't blame him, because it's like this was his very first fight at 154, because he's basically fought at catch weights, but that doesn't really count. It's just like Jesse's never been, in the division. And I mean, Liam, he definitely did his thing. He definitely had his moments, but I think Jesse, he just had like a lack of defense, and he wasn't moving his head, like he wasn't moving his head enough to the point where Liam was just basically catching him with shit that the average, high level peer boxer would get away from. So, I mean, the punches that Liam was actually hitting him with, that was just like not even supposed to be there. But I thought Jesse just really had like a poor gas tank. He was not fighting well, and he was just getting into these weird ass exchanges where that you could outbox him. Like you are the faster guy than Liam, because Liam, he's a flat footed motherfucker that can't set his punches up properly. But it's like Jesse proved, like, especially in the early rounds, like he was able to outbox him, but he chose not to. He chose to do this weird ass fucking Mexican style, like, oh yeah, come at me, bro. Like, nah, man, like you're gonna get knocked out doing that. And sadly, he did. Ghost said, I hear Savannah Marshall not talking about the fight, so it might be next. Yeah, I agree. I personally don't think I like I personally don't think Savannah Marshall wants to fight Clarissa, because she knows one, Clarissa's gonna be on her, like, on her ass, making sure that, to make sure that the fight, obviously isn't gonna be having any cheating involved. But two, I think Savannah realizes that Clarissa, she's a bad style matchup to her, and knowing that she thinks that she can beat her, the only way that she really beats Clarissa is that she has to do something really how should I say, like, corrupt to the point where she has to like actually do some Tyson Fury bullshit cheating. And I don't think Savannah, she would have the nerve to do that. And I think I think Savannah, she just understands that Clarissa's above her level, and I don't think Savannah actually wants that fight. Oh, and by the way, I actually saw Layla Ali at the fight. I didn't personally see her, but I saw her in the, like, how should I say, in the crowd stance, and I find it very surprising that Layla and Clarissa never came face to face. And I really don't know if they actually still have any beef. But if you guys want a good idea, maybe have Clarissa and Layla Ali fight each other. Like, maybe, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm just, I'm just obviously coming up with some decent ideas, but I don't know. But yeah, Savannah Marshall, she definitely doesn't, really interest me, and I definitely thought that, you know, just by hearing that news that she didn't want to come to the press conference to announce the fight with, Clarissa Shields, because, like, because of reasons, right? That, like, that doesn't really make any fucking sense. So I definitely didn't like that, and I thought, to me, that's really foolish and very irresponsible out of her. She should have at least said something to say, like, why she can't make the fight now, blah blah blah. At least come up with like a good reason. But Clarissa did her thing. She definitely spoke the truth on that, and I think eventually, knowing how this Daniel Canahan situation is going, I'm pretty sure Savannah, she probably doesn't want to have any parts, to be exposed for that or to be associated with that. But yeah, Ghost said Jesse gassed in 3 rounds. That was sad to see. Yeah, man. Like after the third round, Jesse just looked absolutely just garbage, and he looked like he didn't even train hard enough for the fight. Like I actually thought Jesse just, like, he just basically got up out of bed and just basically took a really gruesome ass, yeah, like a really gruesome ass whipping for, the majority of that fight. And I thought Liam was supposed to lose to Jesse because Jesse, he has a better style than him, but Liam, he basically fought a Jesse Vargas that fought like a zombie looking like punching bag. So, but Go said Jesse was doing well first 4 rounds, even hurt him, uh, but he was stuck on getting a KO, and he had terrible energy management. Yeah, I agree. I purely think Jesse had the ability to knock out Liam Smith. He should have just started boxing and then the knockout comes, because Liam, he usually ends up getting hurt when people start boxing him, and then once you start hurting him, he can't really fuck with you. So at the end of the day, he should have just taken a page out of Canelo's book, but just start boxing with like your jab, and then eventually your, signature, like your signature punches will come together to the point where you're able to, prioritize your shots a lot better. He said, "I'm with you." He tried to do a zombie style fight while he's just not blessed with those type of lungs and that type of chin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, some fighters like Jesse are like those, like, give me all those type of, dangerous risks, type of fighters. And I just think Jesse, he just came in with such a horrible, like like Jesse came in with such a horrible plan that all the Irish people that were sitting right by me at the fight, they were basically saying like, "Oh man, like come on, man, like, like, what the hell is this Mexican looking bruv doing out here?" Yo, I was laughing my ass off, but I mean, honestly, like, Liam could have easily lost that fight, and I mean, Jesse basically blew it, and I mean, for him to fight him at his very first fight at 154, I'm not really too happy about that. Like, I think honestly, he should have fought somebody like a Luis Arias type of fight, or fight maybe like a, I don't know, like fight somebody that's not going to give you a very very tough outing. Like, at least like get your feet wet in the division, and that would have been like a better, fight. Ghost also said, "I don't know if Layla will make the weight. To be honest, bro, she gained a lot of size post boxing." Hey man, you can't be disrespecting women like that. But nah, I agree. Like, I mean, just by looking at Layla's like shape, she definitely looks like a soccer mom at this point. But I mean, no disrespect to Layla. Like, I appreciate and love the great woman herself, but I wasn't really so sure if she was really that serious of wanting to fight Clarissa in the first place. And I think at this point, she's basically like sitting in her Sean Porter boots, trying to act like she is great, but at the end of the day, she knows Clarissa is like levels above her. So that pretty much shows like the level of dedication between both of them. But Ghost also said Jesse was too busy building his wall to train, and it showed. Yeah. Yo, every time when Jesse got hit with some hard shit, he just started like squinting, and I literally saw his like body just like break down in the fight, and he just looks so super slow, but like literally, he just looked absolutely horrible. He looked like, bro, he looked like a broken bag of fucking potatoes that you buy at some store that somebody had offered to you, and like you go back to get like your damn refund, and they try to act like, oh no, 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 like but the potatoes are good, and then come to find out they're like, absolutely just damaged and fucking aged out and probably just super old and shit like that. But that's pretty much how I saw Jesse Vargas fight. It's just like that was just terrible coaching, terrible fucking fighting style. Like honestly, like I was just thinking inside like my head, like where the fuck is Robert Garcia? Because like I thought he was training with him, but then I found out like Jesse basically like he basically just left him. Can we agree that Nonita as a coach sucks? His advice was terrible too. Oh, Nonito Donaire actually coached him? Wow, that's even worse. Like, like seriously, that's even more worse than fucking Freddie Roach. And Ghost said, "No disrespect, Layla, you beautiful." Yeah, Layla, she is beautiful. She is a great old lady, and honestly, like I kind of wish she fought Ann Wolf, so that way, that would have been a big fight for female, yeah, for female boxing. But anyways, let's wrap this up with the Shakur, and then we'll talk about the main event. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. Um, Obviously, this fight was a very, very close. Well, I wouldn't say a close fight, but it was a good fight while it lasted. And I think Katie showed a lot of vulnerabilities compared to Amanda. Amanda looked to be the more fresher fighter, a lot more powerful in her shots. She started prioritizing her jab a lot better. She should have taken pages out of Errol Spence's book, where she should have been able to win the fight simply based off of just using her jab. And she has such a great, ring IQ to actually manage her offense very well. But the problem with this fight was that Katie Taylor, she was like looking very vulnerable from the entire first round leading up to the end. And I'll say for at least at the like I'll say for the first 6 rounds, at least for the first 6 rounds, I thought Amanda was dominating her. But from like round 7 leading up to round 10, I would say Amanda, she gave up those rounds because she was definitely tired and she was punching herself out. And I would definitely like criticize her coach, coach fuck I forgot his name, Maldonado, Jordan Maldonado. But I think Coach Maldonado did his thing. I think he was he was good giving correct instructions in the corner. But the problem is just that when you're in a fight with Katie Taylor, you have to like really beat her ass, and what she did. But I think what she should have done is just work the body. Take pages out of Errol Spence's book, where every time when he faces somebody that is a quote unquote amateur level pure boxer, all you have to do is just work that body. And I mean, Katie showed so much vulnerability in the fight itself that she was about to get knocked out, like literally in like round 4 and round 5 and round 10. At least in those rounds, like Katie was getting, she was so close to getting knocked out. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and that fight was just amazing, man. Amanda Serrano did her thing. She was beating her to the punch, and Katie was trying to tie up, and she was like, "Bitch, get off of me." She was Amanda was just on her A game, but these judges in New York just need to be thrown in prison, man. Like honestly, like judging really needs to be like definitely marketized where like you have to have some form of a good level education in boxing to actually be a judge because I like I personally myself would actually like to like like to give it a shot to like to become a judge in boxing just to see what the just to see what the ah shit just to see what the qualifications are to get in. But I'm pretty sure to become a judge, all you need to do is just probably, go through some, promotional stable that can get you set up, and then you're able to, start judging like your fights, going through some, state, local or federal licensing program to like get you up there. But I'm not too sure, honestly. Like, I would definitely need to take a look at that, and I'll probably actually do a video on that to actually show you guys like how people become judges in boxing if I'm able to find the sources on that. But I am pretty sure a lot of these judges don't have educations, and a good number of them probably end up just doing some stupid shit outside of their life to become a judge, and their background checks are not even being applied on them because obviously like you could tell the judges that that have been exposed in boxing, they're very evil, crooked people, similar to any state agent that would corrupt you over any sort of political mindset. But yeah, either way, like it's just yeah um honestly, like it's just like actually terrible. uh Hey, how's it going, Judah? Salute to you. Amanda Serrano got robbed blind. Serrano bloody her nose in round one. Yep, that was true. I actually saw that shit. It was a landslide victory. Shaking my head. Yep, I agree. Round five, Katie was going bye bye. K Rod, I was hyped. Yeah, man. Like I had so much fun being there. Honestly, like I honestly couldn't even get out of like my seat because there were so many people just coming in and coming out, and there was a shitload of Puerto Ricans and Irish people. I'm not kidding you. Like when I say like Puerto Rico and Ireland was seriously in the fucking building, like it was in the building. It felt like an NBA game mixed with a fucking NFL crowd. Like literally, like the MSG is a great spot for boxing, but the problem is that when you don't have people that don't understand the sport, it can get out of hand where you have like some idiots that want to try fighting you, in which I will say somebody tried fighting me at the MSG, but it never went to that point because I was just obviously trying to record, the content. But like seriously, like somebody tried fucking with me, and I was like 2 seconds close to fighting him, but I didn't want to do that because like I was just like enjoying like myself. But he was with like his homies and shit, and he was like trying to like tell me to shut up and just be quiet, like you brown shits, like whatsoever. And I was just about ready to like just like beat his ass, but I was like, nah, man, like I could tell that you're drunk and like you're obviously just not not thinking correctly. So I kind of just brushed it off, and I was like, all right, fine. At the end of the day, you're not definitely from here, you're not from the US. So um I would have to say a lot of people definitely flew in from Ireland. So I'd say like from like the Irish and Puerto Rican population, there was a lot more Puerto Ricans than Irish people. But the Irish people, they were sitting like in certain like bunches in the actual stadium, in which that was actually really really good because I actually had so much fun talking to people from Ireland, because people from Ireland are very nice people. I actually had like a lot of fun talking with them. And honestly, what the problem was is just like the Puerto Ricans that was with me that I didn't even know, like those Puerto Ricans were either from Puerto Rico, or a good number of them came from New York City, in which I'll probably have to say like a shitload of them definitely came from either Brooklyn or the Bronx or Manhattan. But like literally Puerto Rico was just super fucking loud. Like everybody was singing like all the traditional Puerto Rican songs like Que Bonita Bandera and all that shit. Like it was lit. Like literally, Ireland was just chanting over here, Puerto Ricans were chanting over there, and it just felt like an NBA game mixed with the NFL game. Like something that you don't see too often, and it's like you wish like you was actually like going to these events, on the regular, but it's like it's so hard to like have those type of moments where like you want to go to these type of fights, and it's like for me to be there at the MSG on my first time on my birthday, that is lit. Like I was like, yo, I am going back to the MSG, and dude, I am lighting the fuck up in that fight. And hands down, Amanda Serrano, she is a fucking sell. I don't care what anybody says. She was the A side coming into that fight, and she arguably won that fight. She was beating on Katie's ass, and Katie Taylor, she knew it, and just breaking, the whole fight down, despite like what people are gonna say, oh well, Katie won these rounds, she won that round. Nah, dude. Arguably, Amanda beat her 7 rounds to 3. She was dominating Katie. But if you want to be generous, I will be generous to say it was a 6-4 win for Amanda, because the second judge that was scoring the fight, for Katie, that was 97-93. That was bullshit. That was absolutely bullshit. That was basically a fucking robbery there to say that Katie won 7 rounds to fucking 3. In what world did you see Katie do good in 7 rounds? Other than, I probably say the last 3 rounds, you can give that, but in round 4 and 5, she was brutally hurt. She almost got stopped. In which this is why that I advocate for 3-minute rounds for women's boxing and 12 rounders. Because the reason why that I like to see that is to see people like Katie get knocked out. She was literally out on her legs, almost about to get dropped. If Amanda had dropped her, everybody, all the Puerto Ricans would have gone insane. All the black people, everybody. I kid you not. That place would have gone wild. And guess what? I guarantee you Amanda still would have been robbed if she had got a knockdown. I guarantee you. But if she had won, goddammit, Katie Taylor would have been just defeated. And she was defeated after the fight. She knew she wasn't winning. She knew she was losing at least 6 rounds. But the rounds where Amanda quote unquote lost, Amanda, she was still piecing up Katie. So either way, like, I mean, I give credit to both, ladies, but I'm not going to sit here and say Katie Taylor is pound for pound number 1 because she beat Amanda, knowing that she got her ass whipped throughout the majority of the fight. That's not what pound for pound means. Pound for pound is not based off of like, oh, well, if I beat this guy based off of, like my resume, then that makes me pound for pound number 1. No, it's your skills. It's what your skills can do to other weight classes via styles make fights. So at the end of the day, Katie Taylor, like, she she really showed zero separation from Amanda, and from like honestly, from all the angles that you want to say that Katie was like moving her head and she had like decent level defense. No, she was getting pieced up. Her right eye was almost shut completely, and she was just terrible, man. Like, just absolutely just poor ring IQ, just looking slow. Her body looked like she was just some, beat up grandma, just terrible. But I mean, honestly, like I really thought, that Amanda stole the show, and she did her thing, man. She really did her thing. But I mean, honestly, like if the rematch ever happens, that's probably gonna happen like out in Ireland, in which people want that to happen, but I don't think that's probably gonna happen anyway, because if people just go out and see what the amount of revenue of who came out to support Amanda, that's obviously gonna show like more people coming out for her rather than Katie, and I think honestly the fight would be a lot bigger if Katie came out to America anyway. And I think DAZN needs to, get away from this fight. I think honestly, like Jake Paul, he should like try to get the PBC involved and try to put that shit on Showtime and probably put that on put that as a main event, and like Jake Paul, he could be like a co-main event or something like that. But I don't know, man. I think that's a good idea. Like I think honestly that the PBC would very well be interested in making that fight, because Eddie Hearn, like having these fights set up into his favor. I don't think that's a good fucking idea. I think that's terrible political, promoter politics, and we obviously knew, what the setup was, like Katie beats Amanda, so therefore she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, knowing that she can't even say that with like a confident, mindset, knowing that she looked defeated, in the post fight press conference, and then even in the post fight ring interview, where she knew Amanda was very, very well close, like very well close to stopping her, and she was being dominated for the majority of that fight. So either way, Amanda, she definitely did what she had to do, and I mean, fuck that loss, man. She's the people's champion. She definitely did what she had to do, but she definitely came out to fight, and I thought Katie arguably lost. And I mean, whatever Amanda does from here, she still says that she wants to be undisputed. So I think she can get it. I think she could very well get undisputed at 135, in which people want to say like, oh well, if Katie Taylor retires, then that means Amanda, she's gonna end up facing like, well, let's take a look at the division for anybody that's interested. So let's just say if Katie Taylor ends up hanging up them belts and now the division's wide open, the only people that are left in this division is Terry Harper, Estelle Mosley, she's that French lady that's with Tony Yoka. I think that's his wife, right? And then there's Maria Moneo, in which she's a decent fighter. She's a 29-year-old out of Uruguay. She has some good, decent pop, but I'm not really too sold on her. Melissa Saintville, I'd probably take her out of the picture. She's 38 years old. She's not really, at her best anymore. But after that, it's like basically just a bunch of females that nobody never really heard, heard too much of. So I mean, honestly, I think Amanda should just continue to stay at 135. But I mean, if she wants to go back down to 126 and just try to force, possibly try to, negotiate with Erica Cruz, in which obviously Erica Cruz, ducked her, to try to get that fight made for her. But I mean, let's just say if Jake Paul comes in and offers Erica Cruz some big money, and she's actually able to take that pitch, then I would go for that, and then beat up on on the other girl. Who's that other lady at 126? Her name is Nina Minka, right? Oh no. It's a Sarah Mahfood. Yeah. Like if she could do that, that's definitely like a good step in the right direction, because I think like Amanda would brutally stop her and just beat her up, and that'll be history from that. So I mean, those are basically the two fights left for Amanda at 126. For anyone interested that that's possibly thinking that that if she could go down to 126 and become undisputed there, that's a good idea. But I think lightweight is probably the best division, because if she could try to push for that Katie Taylor rematch, then go for it. But if she doesn't want to and she goes back down to 126, and she could try to get those last two fights there, in which I'm pretty sure she can, because if Jake Paul can fork in that money, then that's really gonna start making that those title fight unifications a lot quicker for Amanda Serrano. So yeah. Anyways, congratulations to Amanda for putting up such a good hard fought battle, and congrats, to Katie, quote unquote. Congratulations to Katie for getting beat up, but obviously obviously not for getting like a robbery decision over, over Amanda. And I think like the reason why that happened was mainly because they didn't want to see Amanda be great, but they were very well fine to see Shakur Stevenson beat up on Oscar Valdez, because a lot of people knew Oscar Valdez did not have the style to beat Shakur, but for Amanda's case, she had the style to beat Katie and it proved it in the ring. But based off of how the boxing establishment is backing Katie, that obviously wasn't to be the case, and that's really why this shit had pretty much gone down south from the minute the judging scorecards were basically published from the fight being over. Hey, salute to you, PBH Big Dog. He says salute, K Rod. Straight robbery. Fuck those judges. Yeah, man. Fuck those judges, man. Honestly, like I really wish that judging was based off of like a market reputation system, so that way, like if any judge that does something really stupid to try to like give like a robbery decision, they automatically get fined and they automatically get taken down as a judge. So, like you can no longer become like a judge after you give like a poor decision. Like, like I think that there needs to be stricter rules on that, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, like eventually, like it's gonna have to be fixed, but I hope it does, so that way, boxing can, try to be fair. But yeah, let's move on with the main event. Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valpets, or Valdez, just to be exact. This was a good fight. I mean, honestly, like Oscar Valdez, he was not, this type of big, number one badass fighter. To the hardcore fans, obviously, I actually thought Oscar Valdez was not even good enough to beat Shakur, and I never really thought of him to be that, you know, to be that good in the 126 or the super featherweight division. So either way, this fight was already made for Shakur to do his thing and give Oscar Valdez, the business, and that he did. He gave Oscar Valdez a tough fight, and Shakur, he did his thing, man. Shakur was on another level, and he was dominating Oscar Valdez, and he just absolutely just manhandled him. So I guess like what is next for Shakur Stevenson? People want to say he should move up and fight Devin Haney. I don't think he should do that. I think he should just continue to get undisputed, and then after that, he can fight Devin Haney somewhere down the line. But honestly, I'm not too sure, man. I think Shakur Stevenson deserves his respectable just due, and he did what he had to do to win. But as far as what I heard after the fight, where Shakur's mother, his mother was possibly assaulted after the fight, where she was going to be assaulted by Oscar Valdez's racist ass fans. That was fucked up, man. That was absolutely fucked up because number one, that just shows that the evil and the racist, foolery, tribalism that's in boxing, in which, that's never really there all the time, but that's just really messed up of how Shakur gets treated like that, because that was his big ass night. He proposed to his girlfriend. Congratulations to him, but on top of that, his mother gets potentially assaulted by some racist ass douchebags that just wanted to start trouble, and that was totally uncalled for, and that was really fucked up and very evil. So I really hope that everything's fine with his family, and I guess from the looks of it, everything is fine. But Shakur, he was definitely not in the right mindset, because he definitely was like about to flip the fuck out, and I wouldn't blame him. Even if he had gotten himself into a position where he had to end up fighting somebody. So uh, I definitely would have done that too, because nobody's not nobody's not gonna touch my mother like that and try to hurt her. So I'll definitely go life and death with somebody over that. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the stream. I don't want to keep you guys holding here longer. I did have the link posted here if anybody wanted to come in and talk, but Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Um, that's pretty much my, post fight recap with how I saw Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor and Shakur and Valdez. And obviously, don't forget, Canelo Alvarez is fighting Dimitri Bivol, in which nobody doesn't give a fuck about that fight, in which I actually do care about watching that fight now. So I'll be looking forward to seeing Bivol. I think Bivol is going to give Canelo a tougher fight than for what people try to expect Bivol to be. Like a punching bag, and he's just going to be there to get knocked out. Blah blah blah. No, I actually do think, um, I actually do think Bivol will present a difficult style matchup for Canelo. So yeah. Anyways, cheers, and I will see you guys later. Much love to all the Puerto Ricans that I ran into at the fight, and all the friendly Irish people that I met there too. Salute to both fan bases, and obviously salute to my Black American audience. Salute to all the Black people that I had, definitely had fun with at the fight. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. Salute to the mighty LDBC. Long live Puerto Rico, and also, long live Ireland. Salute to the Irish people, and yeah, just salute, for the justice of boxing, man. So, all right, and also, shout out to Amanda Serrano, the queen. Much love to you, greatest woman on earth, the GWOAT number 2, and also the heavy hitting diva, Franchon Cruz. Salute to you as well. So, yeah, that's about it. I'll get up out of here, and I will see you guys later. Until next time, I will have more videos coming out, possibly by today or tomorrow. So, yep, much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all for the birthday wishes. And yeah, man, I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Bye.